Let's decode Dr. Henry Alfred Kissinger. He was the most enigmatic, controversial character US ever had. He was a former secretary advisor and the defense secretary in Richard Nixon's tenure, and he was the main war architect in Vietnam War. He had an amazing life story, and these days I'm reading his autobiography. He was born and grew up in Germany in 1928. Just because of Hitler's dictatorship, he and his entire family flew to the United States of America in 1938. He gained US citizenship. He had to attend World War II as a militant. Afterwards, he went to Harvard University and finished his doctorate degree in political science. Then he became a Dr. Henry Kissinger. And the most of his students and the peer lecturers called him egghead professor during his Harvard days. But amazing character, amazing author. He wrote many books like a Diplomacy during his early years. Accidentally, President Nixon's eye caught up with Kissinger, and then he invited him to please come and help our administration. It was horrible time to Nixon's. He faced enormous challenges, especially in Vietnam War, and Kissinger helped him to navigate and negotiate such a complex situations, because Kissinger is the guy who believed the real politics over idealism. He never believed communism, capitalism likewise. He always believed real politics, real negotiations will give you a better results. And here I'll talk three things about Henry Kissinger, which he participated during his time. The first thing is the Vietnamese War and the bombing in Cambodia. As I said before, he was the main co-host during all this peace talk, because when United States of America was starting to lose that war, they need the better man to negotiate with the North Vietnamese Viet Cong guerrillas. So Kissinger went there, and he came for an agreement with them, and they came for some settlement. But he had one black mark in his great portfolio, great CV, which happened in Cambodia, because 1969 Kissinger advised Nixon to bomb Cambodia. Cambodia was a neutral country during that war period. They never supported any North Vietnamese, South Vietnamese, or the US forces. They were remaining in very neutral positions. Amidst that, US decided to bomb them because they've given a couple of explanations, like some of the North Vietnamese were hiding in Cambodian forest, and most of the North Vietnamese guerrillas were bringing supply, food, ammunition, and all of these things throughout that Cambodian territory. Whether it's correct or not, they have killed more than 10 million people during that 5-year period. It was big black mark in his portfolio, in his life. The second one is the coup in Chile in 1973. In 1973, Chile had a new president named called Salvador Allende. He was a communist leader and came from the people's power, came from the proper election. But then he initiated some of the reforms which is influenced by the socialism. And Kissinger and the US administration were not happy with that. So they've asked to CIA to conduct an internal operation in Chile, and people start protesting, and CIA helped them. And however, they've overthrown Salvador Allende, and they brought up the new man called the Augustus Pinochet. So it was a horrible mission, and killed many people in Chile, like students, academians, and all these people were killed during that time. That was the second thing, 1973 coup in Chile. Third one happened in 9/11, during the 9/11 attack. When 9/11 happened, Kissinger was not in any US administrations. He was almost retired. But when two airplanes hit the Twin Towers in 11th of September, George W. Bush directly called Kissinger and asked and consulted him. So Kissinger, in the very first glance, Kissinger wanted to be in that commission and do some sort of a analysis about that. But unfortunately, at that time, Kissinger has his own firm. Kissinger firm is a consultancy firm, and some of his clients were based in Saudi and Arabian countries, so they were not happy with Kissinger's move. So they've asked him to please step out, and however, Kissinger was step away from that operation. He gave the couple of consultant advices to George W. Bush, and he said that you must win this war. United States of America should win in Iraq. That was his advice according to that 9/11 attack. However, he's a great diplomat, but with a lot of dark memories. And there was a famous saying by Henry Kissinger, which he said, if I had to choose disorder and justice in one hand, on the other hand, order and injustice, I will always choose the latter one, because he believed the world order must, rather than any of all these ideologies. This is a decade of Dr. Henry Alfred Kissinger.